So good morning again. So until the last class, we have covered few of the phylums, right? And we are going to start with, sorry, I think we have finished the concepts on the Arthropoda, Arthropoda being the largest phylum consisting of all the insects, right? And we have seen certain adaptations in them, certain unique features in them. And right now, we are going to go on to the first phylum of today's class, that is going to be phylum Mollusca. Now these are soft-bodied animal with an exoskeleton, but again we will compare the exoskeleton of that of the arthropods and that of the mollusk. Both have exoskeletons, but the exoskeleton composition, how are they different, that we will see. And we'll see also how segmentation is going to play here, and what are the different features. For example, this symmetry or the body cavity, how they're going to be different, or is it the same compared to the previous group. Let's see that in this particular class. So I'm going to now share you with the screen. Let me do that for you. And I think we are here. Yes. Let me set it up. Okay, can you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great.
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Yeah, I can hear your voice also much better now. That's great. Thanks for the headphone. Anyways, let me go to the, okay, 1 second. I think I'm in writing mode. Yes. Okay, great. So we are talking about now the second largest phylum, right? And that is going to be the phylum mollusk. Now, when we talk about the second largest phylum, we are talking about the soft-bodied animals, and what we see here is an organ system level of organization. Now, we have been talking about the level of organization, and if you have seen from the last few phylums, we are talking about only the organ and organ systems of organization, and that is going to be common from now on. All the remaining groups that we're talking about, they are going to have organ system level of organization. And you can see here some of the representative images from this particular group. You can see, right? Some of these you can and you should be able to identify. I need not name them, I guess, right? So anyways, symmetry, when we talk about, again we are talking about the bilateral symmetry, where we are going to have a distinct left and distinct right, which are going to be mirror image of each other. So when we cut the organism in two equal halves, we are going to get a equal or mirror image. Now, when we talk about the germ layers, or we're talking about the body cavity here, it is germ layers are going to be three, triploblastic in nature. That is, we are going to have a distinct ectoderm, endoderm, and a well-developed mesoderm. And body cavity, of course, it is going to be coelomate. So from now on, whatever groups we are going to talk about, whatever phylums we are going to talk about, all of them are going to be coelomate. That means they are going to have the body cavity that is going to hold the visceral organs within them, right? They are well protected within the coelom. Now, if you see here, there is a particular place where you can see the coelom in these organisms, mollusks, and this is going to be your exoskeleton, right, or the covering we can talk about. And here the inside part is going to be the organism soft body, complete part. Anyway, let's talk about that. So habit and habitat, most of them are aquatic and few of them are terrestrial in this case. And you can see the examples here again. Now, digestive system, as you have seen, again this is going to be a common feature across the group from now on, and that is going to be a complete digestive system with separate opening for mouth and the anus. So if you can focus here on the picture part, so you are going to have the mouth, and the mouth is going to have a particular structure, rasping organ, right, which is called radula, to feed in, actually to take in the food, and this going to open into the structure that is the stomach, and there are digestive glands which are going to help in digestion of the food particle, of course, and then the stomach opens into the intestine and it continues all the way to the anus. So there are two separate openings for the mouth and the anus, which is why again it is going to be a complete digestive system. And again you'll see this area is going to be the ganglion, and you can see the nerve cords which are actually as present all around the organism. So if you see here, respiratory system, there are gills in aquatic forms to take the oxygen from the water, and the pulmonary sac in case of terrestrial forms. So you can see here in Pila globosa, there is presence of pulmonary sac. which is going to help in respiration. Now circulatory systems is going to be again open type like the previous group we have seen, and here the blood is going to be pumped directly into the body cavity. So in other words, the entire organs of these organisms are going to be taking or present within the body fluid, or that the cavity is called hemocoel, and you're going to have the hemolymph, we call it. Okay, so the heart is going to pump the blood directly, and it is going to reach the organs in a open way, and there is no supply of capillaries. So you can see there is no blood capillaries that are supplied to the organs, right? No blood capillaries to organs. So here the organs are directly with the body fluids or the hemolymph in this particular case. Now the organisms here are dioecious, that is we are going to have separate male and female organisms. So separate male and female organisms, and they are oviparous. That means they are egg laying. As you can see here, it's a snail, garden snail, that is laying eggs. These are the eggs, of course, and the development is direct or indirect depending on the species that we're talking about. That means it can involve a larval stage or it may not involve a larval stage. Now what is something unique about this group? Here what we see is, here there is a head region, of course, and there is a visceral mass, okay, and there is a muscular foot. If you see in the previous group, we had head, then we had thorax, say head, abdomen and thorax, right? But in this case instead we are going to the head, visceral mass and the foot. Now the head is going to be consisting of the sensory organ called the sensory tentacles, and there is a presence of the exoskeleton, as I was talking about, is going to be the shell, and this shell is again calcium carbonate based calcareous shell, we call it. Okay, calcareous shell, and this is going to be again unique in this particular group, and you don't see this in particular in any other groups. And when we talk about the respiration, we had talked about the gills, and again there is feather like gills, as you can see in this area. Now this gill is going to help in two roles: one, respiration, and second, excretion, both. Now as I was talking about the radula, file like rasping organs, they are present along with the mantle. Now mantle, or it is called pallium, it is a membrane which covers the visceral mass, right? Now this particular part that we are talking about, if you can see my red color, right, this particular part that we are talking about, so this is a mantle that we are talking about, which is going to cover the visceral mass. All the way it is present, all the way it is present. Now the space between the hump and the mantle, right, space between the hump and the mantle, that is going to be called as a mantle cavity, right? It is called a mantle cavity. Now we are going to have the radula, as I was talking about. It is present in the mouth of the mollusk, file like grasping organ, right? And this is going to be used for feeding, or it is going to help in the process of nutrition. So for example, it is always going to for example, move in this direction, right? When the food is actually available, this food comes in contact and this gets passed on to the inside. So this is going to help, in other words, in feeding the organism. Now again, this entire structure that we are talking about is actually shown here. So mainly I will show you, as I was talking about, the nerve collar or the nerve cord, and this is going to be the primitive brain or the ganglion, we call it, and along with that you are going to have this nerve cord all around, right? Here you can see both in the dorsal and the ventral side, and you can see the heart is present, right? And the gonads are present, right? Gonads are, what are gonads? Any idea? Can anybody tell me?
Organs.
I'm sorry, I repeat again.
So these are the sex organs.
Yes, so these are the gonads, means these are the sex organs, or these are the gamete producing organs, right? They produce the gametes, and that is why it is called gonad. So we do have the gonads along with all the other structures, as you can see in this case, and we do have the nephridium, which is going to take care of the excretion also to a certain extent. Now, when we talk about examples, we have the apple snail, that is the Pila globosa, right? This is very common. You see it in the garden, similar Pila. Then you have the Paul oyster, or that is pinctatade, and you have sepia, cuttlefish. Okay, this is what I was talking about yesterday or even today morning, that they will ask you, they'll give you 4 or 5 different examples of fishes, okay? And they will, for example, even put the cuttlefish, and they'll ask you which of these is not a fish. So you must know the examples of each of the phylum to actually tell that yes, cuttlefish is not a fish, rather it's the sepia, which is a mollusk. So these kind of examples, this kind of questions actually are asked. Then you have the squid or loligo, then you have the octopus or the devilfish, then you have the aplysia, the seahorse, and then you have the dentalium, that is tusk shell, and you have the clitopura, that is the chiton. Now again, some of these were present even in class 9th example. At least I think this was there, and octopus was there, seahorse was there, and also the chiton was there in class 9. So along with that, you have to remember some of the new examples that we are talking about. So if you want to summarize, what we see here is we have the organ system level organization, bilateral symmetry, triploblastic in nature, coelomate. Again, this has become the common structures from now on. And aquatic, fewer terrestrial, complete digestive system, respiration is through gills in aquatic form, and the pulmonary sac in terrestrial forms. Then you have the open type circulatory system, dioecious, oviparous, and with or without a larval form. Now, unique feature, body is divided into head, visual hump, and the foot, and the head has sensory tentacles, and you're going to have the feather-like gills for respiration and excretion. Then you're going to have the shell, then the mental and the radula for grasping or for taking the food in. And you already have seen the examples. You can put any, you need to remember some of these examples for the subjective tests. Now, next we are going to be in the echinoderms, or it is called the phylum Echinodermata. And as you can see, the starfish, again, which is not a fish, right, is a very good example of this particular phylum. Now, it is called spiny skinned animals. Why? Because the skin is going to be having certain projection, hedgehog-like projection, and that is why the name Echinodermata. So, organ system of organization, bilateral symmetry for the larval form only, and for the adult here it's going to be radial symmetry. Now this is again something unique about this particular phylum. Here we have the adult, and as you can see, starfish, and this is our central axis, and from there we can divide the organism in number of planes, and still we will get the equal halves. But when we talk about the larval form, it is not radial symmetry. Instead, it is going to be bilateral symmetric in nature. Now, germinal layers, you're going to have the triploblastic, and they're going to be coelomate organism, right? There is true body cavity, as you can see in this particular case. The entire space here is going to be the body cavity, where the visual organs or the internal organs are present. Now they are exclusively marine. There is no terrestrial form or no freshwater form. They all are they all are marine in nature. And you know, the type, the range of variation you see in the morphology, the way they look is very, very, very different compared to any other species that we have seen, any other phylum that we have seen. Now digestive system is complete. We are going to have the ventral mouth and dorsal anus, right? Ventral mouth and dorsal anus. So you can see the mouth area is somewhere here, and the back side you're going to have the anus. This dorsal side you're going to have the what you call anus in this particular area. Now you're going to have something called tube feed system also, and we will talk about that. So respiration is by the branchiae, dermal branchiae, that is the skin gills or papillae, and the tube feed system. Now this is something that is unique, and you don't see that in any other phylum. Tube feed system, that is unique. Now if you can see here, okay, I think there is another one. Yeah, so circulatory system again is of open type. Okay, do you have any chat? Yeah, questions are there? Maybe I'll just take. Okay, yeah, I'll answer these questions just in a minute. Okay, I'll come back to chat at a later point of time. So anyway, so what we're going to have, we're going to have the water that enters the tube feed system through the metroporite or the opening here, and it goes it is connecting the central ring or the stone canal, we call it. Through here, it comes to the ring canal, and from here it goes to the individual arm here, and here you can see the tube foot and the ampulla. Now the water moves in and it is going to get released through this ampulla or this balloon like structure, right? That is your water vascular system that is going to help in the process of circulation, again, which is unique in this case. You don't see this in any other cases. Okay, now dioecious external fertilization development is indirect. There is a larval form for all, and again it is going to be bilateral symmetric, and the ciliated free swimming larva, here the larva is free swimming and they do have the cilia. Now they have endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles, that is made up of calcium carbonate again, and the head is going to be absent, and water vascular, that is tube feed system or water vascular system, is actually present. Now the excretory system is also absent. Dedicated excretory system is going to be absent. Now let's talk about the excretory system, the water vascular system. In this system, the sea water enters through a porous plate called the madreporide that we are talking about earlier. Madreporide is here and reaches the radiating canals, right? So your radiating canals will then allow the water to move to the tube feet or the poria. So here radiating canal, and then you're going to have the here this structure, and then finally the tube feet, these small structures as you can see here. These are radial canals. These all are going to be radial canals that is moving in the center, and from there you are having the structure. These are the tube feet. And why are they important? Because they are going to help in locomotion, respiration, capture and transport of food, and excretion. So you see multiple functions are taken care by a single system here, and that is why these are unique, and that is why they are very important. So locomotion, respiration, capture and transport of food and excretion, and that's why they don't need a dedicated excretion system for that matter. So we do have examples of the asterias or the starfish, Ichneus or the sea urchin, then Echinocardium, then you have the sea lily or the attendant, and the Ophiura, that is brittle star, and the Cucumeria, that is the sea cucumber. At least remember the scientific common names. Okay, if we are going to summarize everything, we are going to have the organ system level organization, radial symmetry for all but bilateral symmetry for the larval forms. Triploblastic, coelomate, exclusively marine, no terrestrial forms. The digestive system is complete, ventral mouth and the dorsal anus, and the dermal branchia that is used for respiration along with the tube feed system or the water canal system. Then circulatory system is going to be reduced, and it is of open type, dioecious, external fertilization, indirect development. There is a larval form for all, and ciliated free swimming larva. Now body is covered with spines, that's why the name Echinodermata. Head is absent, and ossicles are present as endoskeletons. Water vascular system and excretory system, again here in this case, is going to be again absent. You can take any examples as we have discussed. Now we'll talk about the hemichordata and we'll finish our class today. Now in this case, hemichordata was earlier considered as a subphylum of the chordata, right? And like chordates, it has the pharyngeal gill slits. When we talk about the chordates, we'll talk about some of the common features, some of the unique features about all the chordates that share. And one of the feature is going to be pharyngeal gill slits that is found in almost all the chordates, and that is why these hemichordates were earlier placed under the phylum chordate, but now it is a separate phylum altogether. Now here again, let's talk about all the features. Organ system of organization, bilateral symmetry, triploblastic, and coelomate. There's no difference in them. Exclusively marine, just like the previous case, and the digestive system is complete. As you can see, there is a specific mouth and anal opening. Now there are presence of gills for the respiration, as they are aquatic in nature, they are exclusively marine in nature. So you can see the structure here, the mouth here, right? And this particular area is the proboscis, that is the head region, and this is the collar, and this particular part, right, this is going to be the trunk region. So you do have a pharynx and you do have the pharyngeal gill slits. Circulation is open type. There is a heart present, but again it is of open type and not closed circulatory system. Reproduction is diviseous. There is both separation of male and female sex organs in two different body. External fertilization and indirect development. That is, we do have a larval form. So what is the unique feature about it? It is worm-like cylindrical structure, and there is an interior part. Always remember, interior means head region. So there is an interior part which is called the proboscis, a collar, and a trunk region. Okay, so the collar bars, that is called stomochord, right? In this particular area, you can see this is the stomochord. It is a rudimentary structure similar to the notochord, right? Anybody can tell me what notochords are?
It is
Please speak again. It is not very clear. Once again.
Sir, they
Yes, speak. Yeah, please speak. What are notochord, I'm asking, and where do you see them?
Sir, it is a rod-like structure, sir, present in the dorsal side of the organism.
Do you have any organisms?
No, sir.
In case of the chordates, okay, the presence or absence of notochord differentiates the chordates from that of the non-chordates. So as you said, very good, you just said that they are present, rod-like structure present in the dorsal side. Then in higher organisms we are going to get the vertebral column in case of the notochord, right? Anyway, so that is something that we are going to have. It's a rudimentary structure and it is called the stomochord for that region. And excretion is by proboscis glands here. So one of the common example is going to be the balanoglossus that you have seen again in class 9th, which is called the tongue one, and you have the saccoglossus, again two very common example of the hemichordates. So if you can summarize this, we are going to have organ system level organization, then we are going to have the bilateral symmetry, triple bastic, coelomate, exclusive marine, just like the previous group. So these all are the same, right? Then complete digestive system, gills are there for respiration, open circulatory system, diviseous, external fertilization, indirect development, larval forms are there, and worm-like body with proboscis, collar, and trunk. And collar have the stomochord, which is a rudimentary notochord, and excretion is by the proboscis gland. And we have the examples as balanoglossus and saccoglossus for that matter. Now we are left with the last phylum, that is phylum chordates, and that